Hi, we're with you again, and we are in one of Akron's best kept secrets. The gentleman standing next to me is Dave Barnhardt, Director of Marketing for the Akron Zoo, the guy who really makes it go. Dave, thanks for being with us, and can you tell us a bit about this zoo?
Absolutely. We've been around over 50 years, and we've done a lot of expansion the last several years, and I usually tell people if you haven't been in the Akron Zoo in the last 5 or 6 years, you really haven't been to the Akron Zoo. It's changed that much. We've added 130% more animals in the last 6 years. We've added exhibit areas, Legends of the Wild, Komodo Kingdom. We're standing right now at Penguin Point and our 19 Humboldt penguins we have on exhibit. So I really encourage everybody to come out. It's just a great place to spend some quality time with the family, come out, see endangered species, and see some animals maybe you've never heard of before, like the capybara.
Okay, you say Humboldt, that's the name of the species. It's not that that's shy or anything like that.
No, it's a Humboldt penguin, and they're actually found in South America, off the Peru and Chile, off the coastlines along the Humboldt Current is how they got their name. And we have 19 Humboldt penguins here at the Akron Zoo, and we had 4 chicks born this spring rather, and they're on exhibit 2. So a great exhibit that we're standing at, the Humboldt penguin exhibit. You can actually see them swim underwater. You can also see them above water. In the winter times, we offer feedings of the Humboldt penguins where you can actually throw some fish in. So just a great state-of-the-art exhibit.
It's a great place for the kids. I see we got plenty of them behind us. Now, you have a special event coming up in September. Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. We have our annual senior safari coming up September 7th, and this is a great event for anybody 55 and older to come out to the zoo and really get to enjoy the zoo. You know, we like to say that we're here for kids of all ages, so you don't need kids to come to the zoo. With the Lehner Family Zoo Gardens with over 7,000 plants and flowers in that area, that's one of the hot spots I think for seniors to really appreciate and enjoy. So that's always a fan favorite, that event, September 7th, Senior Safari. Seniors get in for a discounted price that day. There's a lot of organizations set up with booths to give out information, so definitely not an event you want to miss.
Well, Ray, our cameraman, and myself, we qualify, Ray, so we're not gonna miss that one, okay? Dave, that's a great overview. Now we're going to start our tour, and you're going to show us everything you've got. We don't want to miss anything. Now, Dave has us up here with the Humboldt penguins. Dave, can you tell us about these little guys?
Absolutely. We have 19 Humboldt penguins at the Akron Zoo. These are penguins from South America, so they're not the cold weather penguins people typically think of. These are more mild temperature penguins, so they're out on a nice day. Their water is controlled temperature-wise. We had 4 chicks born this spring. And the ones without the markings on the front of their body, you can actually see are the chicks that were just born. They look a little bit younger than the rest of them. Some of the other penguins are going through what's called a catastrophic molt right now, where they lose all their feathers on their body at one time, and then they regrow new feathers. They go through this every year. So a lot of times they're not in the water if they're going through that molt. They don't eat as much. So if you see some of the ruffled feathers, you know they're going through the molding process.
Is that, were they ready for winter then when this happens?
Not necessarily. They're just kind of cleansing their body and getting rid of all their old feathers and then growing new for the upcoming year. Again, these guys are mild temperature penguins, so they'll be out year round, and we will control the temperature in the water.
And if it gets real cold, below 0, are they still here?
We do. And you know, when it gets real cold, we monitor all the animals, but we'll take special precautions if needed with the penguins. And every day during the summer hours at about 10:30, the penguins will get fed. And you see one of our keepers in the background there feeding the penguins. And we have some of our education staff come out and give a zoo talk and talk a little bit more and answer some questions about the penguins. With all the recent movies the last couple of years, the penguin exhibit has been very popular. So people have a lot of questions about these guys.
But they have happy feet?
They do have happy feet.
Can I ask, what are those markings on their wings?
We have bands on their wings so we can identify them very quickly if we need to. So everybody has a different color on their wing there, and we can again identify them with the colored tag.
Do you have names for each one of these?
We do have names for each one. Don't ask me all 19 names. Don't ask me all 19 names, but we do have names for every one, and we've run a contest with our chicks that we're going to be giving the chicks names. We ran a public contest and got over 600 names from the public, so we're very excited about that.
What was the most popular name they came up with?
I think LeBron was one of the more popular names that they wanted to name the penguin.
Well, if you do that, you may get a donation. You never know.
That's true.
Okay. Thanks, Dave. Let's go to the next spot then. Balls, little puff balls, they're black and white. What are they?
These are black and white ruffed lemurs. We have two species of lemurs here. We have the black and white ruffed lemurs, and then we also have ring-tailed lemurs at the Akron Zoo also. And the only place in the entire world to find lemurs are the island of Madagascar. So if anybody remembers the movie a couple years ago, Madagascar, the lemurs became pretty famous at that time. But we have 4 black and white ruffed lemur here in this building, in the Madagascar building at the Akron Zoo. This is one of our newer areas. We had black and white ruffed lemurs before, and they were outside. So in the wintertime, we had to move them indoors, and people couldn't see them year-round. And part of the new expansion here, we have a lot more indoor space, and you can actually see the black and white ruffed lemurs year-round, even in the wintertime, since they're now indoors.
Lemurs are offshoot of what?
They're a species of primate. So there's many, many different species of lemurs, and we have the 2 here at the Akron Zoo, but again, in the wild, any species of lemur, the only way to find them is the island of Madagascar.
And I see the one's tail is hanging down. Do they use that for balance?
They do use it for balance. They use it for climbing. They'll actually hang from them, so they definitely use their tails quite a bit. They're really unique creatures once you get up close to them, and a lot of our exhibits here at the Akron Zoo really allow you to do that and get nose to nose through a pane of glass with animals like the lemurs and the penguins.
They look like little puffballs. I bet the kids would love to hug them, but you don't hug a lemur, do you?
No, you don't. They can. Any animal with teeth can bite, but they do look soft and cuddly, but that's why we have the gift shop for them to buy a souvenir.
Okay, well, we're going to progress on and see some more exciting exhibits here at the Akron Zoo. Dave, we're at another spot. Could you tell us what this is?
This is our Andean condor exhibit, and these are one of the largest birds in the world. They have a 12-foot wingspan on them, so when they spread out their wings, they look quite impressive. And they're found on the Andes Mountains, on the cliffs of the Andes Mountains, so here kind of a recreation of their natural habitat on the cliffs here at the Akron Zoo. We have some natural rock work in their exhibit that they can kind of hang on, and we do have a male and a female in there, and they're kind of crouched over there in the corner right now.
Well, there are a number of airplanes in years past called condors. There must have been a reason for that.
Yeah, they are quite impressive, and probably something to do with their wingspan, I'm sure, in relation to the airplane. But yeah, when these guys soar up in the sky, you can definitely tell the condor because of that 12-foot wingspan.
You know, years ago, we had a commanding officer who wasn't really well liked. And the guys, some of the pilots captured a buzzard, put it in a cage, and they named it Major Drummond. And he thought that was a real honor. He never did find out it was a buzzard.
Yeah, people in this area probably are more familiar with the buzzards, especially down the Hinckley and the Peninsula area. There's definitely a resemblance between the condor and the buzzard.
Beautiful animals. Okay, what's our next stop? Okay, Dave, what do we have here?
This is our jaguar exhibit. We have 2 spotted jaguars, a male and a female, and you see the jaguar there next to the waterfall. Jaguars are actually one of the few big cats that like water, so you often in their exhibits see the jaguar go right in the water and go swimming. So it definitely provides a good backdrop and also something the jaguar needs that would have in the wild normally.
What is the speed of one of those running?
They can go pretty fast, not quite as fast as maybe a cheetah, and they look similar to the cheetah or the leopard. But again, these are jaguars. We had, people will remember in the last couple of years, we had 3 cubs born here at the Akron Zoo, and this is a critically endangered species. So for the Akron Zoo to have 3 cubs born was quite a milestone, and they now have gone to other zoos, and we still have our male and our female here at the Akron Zoo.
Well, he's staring, he doesn't blink, but he hasn't licked his chops either.
No, and you notice how well he blends into his surroundings too, so a predator in the wild may not see him coming up on the jaguar either in the trees or the rockwork, and he's a pretty impressive animal.
Looking at here, boy, he looks like one tough guy and he's asleep.
He is a tough guy. We're looking at the Komodo dragon. We're actually standing in Komodo Kingdom, our education center here at the Akron Zoo. It has many different animal exhibits, an interactive hall for kids. We have education classrooms in the bottom of this building. We have a cafe. So this is kind of an all-encompassing building. But right now we're looking at the Komodo dragon, one of the probably most fierce animals that people think of when they think of the fierce creatures. This is an endangered species and one of our top reptiles here at the Akron Zoo.
And if this is a Komodo kingdom, this guy's got to be the king.
Yes, he is. He's kind of the headliner of the building, and we're looking at our male, TNT, right now. And again, you see some water in his exhibit. There's some heated rocks in there for him to, they like it warm. So he's quite comfortable in his surroundings right now.
It looks like he should go on a diet. Is that his stomach out there?
That is his stomach out there, and actually he's pretty small for a Komodo dragon. He's pretty young, so he's got a lot of growing to do. They'll grow up to over 200 pounds. So they're pretty impressive animals, and he's been at the Akron Zoo here now for a couple years, and still has got some growing to do, so he'll get much larger even.
How big will he get?
He'll get up to over 200 pounds, and he'll grow in length a few more feet. So, you know, when people come back to the Akron Zoo, he'll probably be even that much more impressive.
That's one guy. We're in a great spot here.
We're at our African lion exhibit, and that is our female Shawnee. And these lions actually are newer to Akron. We've got them within the last year. And so they're a young pair, only a couple years old. And our female and male are quite impressive. Even if they're your youngsters, they still have pretty good size to them.
Well, look how she hopped right up on that table, and she knows she's being photographed. And just like a woman, she grabs the spotlight. And look at the male, he's hiding in the back. How do they get along?
They get along quite well, and you know that was a big thing for us to do, because these lions did not grow up together, so they came from two different zoos. So when they got here to Akron, we had to introduce them to each other, and we did that while they were in quarantine. When they first arrived, and then we put them out on exhibit together, and they've been getting along great together. So we hope when they, in about 4 or 5 years of age, they'll be able to breed.
Anyway, the female is much prettier than the male hiding in the back.
Both are very impressive, and the male actually doesn't have his full mane in yet because he's a juvenile. So his hair will continue to grow, and of course the males will get that big fluffy mane.
Are they fairly docile as long as you stay out of their way?
They can be at times, but they can also be extremely aggressive. And when they get rather playful, you can see them romping around in their exhibit. But definitely something you wouldn't want to come across.
ESCO has been in business since 1954, serving the Akron area for quality, fast printing and copying. ESCO is not about airplanes and airplane manuals, although we are the largest in the world for reproducing, buying and selling manuals of all types to the aircraft industry, military, civilian, and general aviation. But we also do booklets, we do newsletters, we do books for folks right here in the Akron area, and people make ESCO go. Our people have been with us for 20 years, 14 years, and 12 years. Remember to give ESCO a call for all your printing needs, 330-644-7724, and our website is ESCO Aircraft.
Here's the tiger.
Hey, Dave, what do we have here?
This is our Sumatran tiger exhibit, and you're looking at a Sumatran tiger. There's actually 5 different species of tigers, and here at the Akron Zoo we have the Sumatran tigers. So a little bit different than some of the other tigers. They're a little bit darker. Their stripe pattern is different. They're not quite as big as some of the other tigers that people might be used to, but they are definitely big enough for me.
How old is this one?
This one is a middle-aged tiger. We have a male and a female, Benji and Anna, and this is our male tiger right now. So they aren't real old. They're about middle-aged as far as tigers go. And the neat thing again about most of the exhibits here at the Akron Zoo, you can literally get nose to nose with these animals and get right up close, and they are impressive animals to get close to.
Not too close.
No.
You want to stay on this side of the glass.
Absolutely, absolutely.
These are endangered species then.
Yes, they are. Unfortunately, tigers, all species of tigers, all 5 are critically endangered, and you know, with zoos and conservation efforts today are doing everything we can to make sure that these tigers will be around for our children and our grandchildren to enjoy. And we have had some success here at the Akron Zoo breeding tigers, and we had 2 cubs born a couple years ago, and again, they have gone on to other zoos to breed too. But so a lot of conservation in zoos going on about these animals.
Dave, what do we have here?
These are our Malayan sun bears here at the Akron Zoo. We have 2, one in the back, and of course one coming right up to say hello to the kids. And they actually get their name from the yellow crest that's on their chest. If one of them lifts up their head, you'll see a yellow crest on their chest, and that's how they get the name, the sun bear. But these are, again, another endangered species, but a very charismatic species here at the zoo that they will come right up to the glass and very interested in the people.
Are they rather docile? Oh, he's showing off now. Look at that.
These guys are pretty laid back. They're herbivores, so they'll eat fruits and vegetables. They are not carnivores, so they don't eat any meat. So a lot of times the keepers will hide food in their exhibit, yams, carrots, for them to forage around in their exhibit for and look around for.
It gives them interesting things to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Enrichment is a big thing here at the Akron Zoo and really all accredited zoos across the United States. We do enrichment with all our animals, and hiding their food in their exhibit and having them forage is a classic example of enrichment. The keepers will do a lot of other things. With these guys, they'll put some honey up in the tree and let them climb up the trees and get the honey. So again, to stimulate those natural behaviors.
Is he an aggressive species?
They're pretty docile in this exhibit. You know, definitely not as aggressive as you would say a tiger or a jaguar. They're a little more laid back, but you certainly wouldn't want to come across the sun bear.
Dave, what are we at now?
We are at the red panda exhibit, and a lot of people are probably more familiar with the giant pandas, the black and white pandas, but there's actually a species of panda called the red panda or the lesser panda, and that's what we have here at the Akron Zoo. And this little guy's being pretty active around his exhibit exploring. This is actually one of my favorite spots in the zoo because you're really immersed in the middle of almost a jungle, and you kind of forget you're right on the outskirts of downtown Akron. So it's just a lovely setting with the trees and of course the red pandas. We have barking deer and white-naped cranes also around in this exhibit, near this exhibit. So just an impressive area.
You don't mix two species together, do you?
Most of the time, no. There are a couple exhibits where we might mix together, but in the case of the red panda, he'd probably be pretty aggressive towards the white-naped crane or the barking deer, so we do have them separated, but all these animals are from the Asian area, so they kind of have that common theme of geographic area, so they're all in the same spot here at the zoo.
And they're carnivorous?
Yes, they are. These guys actually will eat a lot of bamboo is most of their diet, and you see some freshly cut bamboo in their exhibit. We actually grow bamboo right here on grounds at the Akron Zoo, so it does grow in Northeast Ohio, and we cut it fresh every day for them and put it in their exhibit, and then they get some other treats, mostly vegetables.
Bamboo is pretty hard. Do they eat the shoots or what?
Yeah, they do, and you know, I didn't realize, but bamboo is pretty hardy too, so it can be grown in this environment. And like I said, there's many places on the grounds here at the Akron Zoo where we grow our own bamboo instead of getting it flown in from different areas.
And what is their main staple?
It's the bamboo.
Bamboo?
Yep,
What kind of?
they will eat bamboo constantly, and then they do get some other treats, some vegetables, yams, carrots, things of that nature.
But no meat?
No, these guys strictly will eat mostly, like I said, the bamboo and then some vegetables.
Beautiful spot. Can you tell us what this is?
This is another one of my favorite spots here at the Akron Zoo. This is the Lehner Family Zoo Gardens. This area has over 7,000 plants and flowers that are native to Ohio. And of course you see the water fountains in here, but our horticulture staff just does an amazing job with this area, bringing some annuals and perennials. A lot of greenery in this area. We do have a building in the back of this area that people can rent out for meetings, or the spaces available for wedding photos that people have been taking advantage of. We do a lot of weddings here also at the Akron Zoo. So Nature's View, the building in the background. We do have some small mammal exhibits in there and kids can go in there. And then again, we do rent this space out also. We have the butterfly maze that we're looking at now with in the shape of a butterfly. The caterpillar is in the center, so the kids can kind of go around and find the caterpillar in the center. So it's just another neat, innovative area in this whole section of the zoo garden. So lot of plants and trees. If anybody's a horticulture enthusiast, this is the place for them to be.
You mentioned the Lehner family. Can you tell us about those people?
They are a philanthropic family here in Northeast Ohio, and have done a lot here at the Akron Zoo with Jane Lehner and her family, and just been very, very generous to the whole Northeast Ohio community, and especially here at the Akron Zoo.
Is that the same Lehner family out of Columbus, of the Gap? And
it may be a different family.
but they have money.
Yes,
So,
yes, they do, and they have a great foundation that again supports a lot of initiatives here in Northeast Ohio.
Well, they've done a beautiful job here.
Yes, they have, and it takes several members of our horticulture staff to keep this area up and green, and this just is one of the highlights of the zoo, and this time of year is just a great time to enjoy it.
Do you have many visitors here in the wintertime?
Attendance certainly drops off a little bit in the winter, but the nice thing about the Akron Zoo now is we have a lot more indoor space, so people can come in the wintertime. They can go into Komodo Kingdom, spend some time in there, seeing some animals, get something to eat. So definitely if you have the winter blues, it's a great place to come in the winter, and you can even go indoors a little bit too.
Dave, we're having a great tour. Let's keep on going.
Well, this is our Ohio farmland zoo area, and we have some pygmy goats up here that are very eager to meet us, and there's one reason why, because we got food in our hands. So they'll always be your best friends as long as you have food in your hands. We have some sheep in this area, we have a pig, so this is just another area really for the kids to get up close to the animals and maybe get a little goat slobber on their hands.
These are crackers?
Yes, these are rye crackers that we're feeding, and these are the pygmy goats. Again, people should be pretty common with these, are pretty common animals in this area. You'll see them at the fairs and whatnot. But again, they love these crackers. And I think more and more of them are coming out over to get some food too.
If one of them comes up and says, "Where's the milk?" I'm leaving. You want crackers and milk, or they're just going to have to settle for the
They love those rye crackers.
Oh, I guess. Now they're all coming up. Pygmy, is this as big as they get?
Yeah, this is as big as most of these will get. These are full grown and originally from Africa and been domesticated. So you'll find them, again, you know, at farms around here or fairs and here at the Akron Zoo. But they love their crackers, don't they?
Oh, they sure do. But it's sad, no milk for them.
No, they'll just eat the rye crackers and be happy with that.
I guess. Looks like
Now they're all coming over to be our best friends.
Yeah. Okay, Dave, what do we have here?
Well, we have some caracal sheep and some Barbados sheep. And the caracal sheep are this friendly guy right here. And the Barbados sheep are the ones that don't have this thick of a coat as the Barbados. And I think they're going to come over this fence here in a minute if I don't feed them crackers quicker.
Is this as big as their horns get?
No, they'll actually grow a little bit bigger. And then we do shear these guys also in the summer months to keep their coats down so they don't get too warm.
What do you do with the wool?
We use it in different fashions. We'll use it in our education department to teach people about the wool. So we'll use it in a couple different areas of the zoo.
And it looks like this guy back there is shedding his coat.
Yeah, he's losing some of his coat again. It's getting the summertime, and these guys were sheared right before the heat of the summer, so his coat's starting to come back in already.
And so they'll be ready for winter.
Yes, they will.
Hey, what's our next stop?
We're going to go over to the bald eagle exhibit.
Now we're with Dave Barnhardt, Director of Marketing at the Akron Zoo. He's going to tell us about the eagles here.
These are bald eagles, and you know, probably one of the things when people think of America and the symbol, they think of the bald eagle. So very impressive birds. We have two at the Akron Zoo here, and unfortunately these guys were injured in the wild and given to us by the Division of Wildlife. They've been here for a long time, and so their exhibit is actually an open exhibit because guys can't fly due to their injuries in the wild. So, they've had some wing damage and couldn't be re-released back into the wild, so they're here at the Akron Zoo for everybody to enjoy.
Do you have a veterinarian on the staff?
We do. We have a whole team headed by our chief veterinarian, Dr. Gary Riggs. We have an animal hospital right here on grounds to take care of animals that may be sick or injured and have to be moved into the animal hospital very quickly. So we just have a great team of vets available to us 24 hours a day in case there's ever a problem.
We have some eagle nests in this area too, don't we? Where are they located?
The bald eagles actually have been coming back in droves, and we actually in the valley have some eagles that have been building nests, and we've actually had more and more eagles. The last count I saw that we were up to 4 eagles in the valley right here in our own backyard, so it's neat to start seeing these guys again in the wild. And again, you can come to the Akron Zoo and learn about them and then go see them in the wild down in the valley.
Were these local eagles that were injured locally also?
You know, I'm not exactly sure where these eagles were injured, and then they were brought in by the Division of Wildlife, so somewhere in Ohio that they were injured and then given to us.
Very interesting. And that reminds me of the lone eagle, Lindbergh. I just read a book about him. Okay.
Very impressive animals. No, and their beaks and their talons are very, very strong. So you definitely another animal you don't want to come across because they can do some damage.
They can swoop down and actually grab a rabbit and take off.
Yeah, they can. They're great hunters, either in the wild with fish or out in the wild, you know, with rabbits and whatnot. So yeah, they're great hunters.
That's we now.
We're at the North American River Otter exhibit here at the Akron Zoo, and we have 2 river otters here on exhibit, and the ones, I don't blame them going for a swim and coming right up to us. But again, a really neat exhibit where you can see the animals swimming underwater. You can see them out of water. To the right part of their exhibit, you can see them in the wood logs. So definitely a variety of habitats you can see these guys in this exhibit.
Are they related to the beaver family?
They are. They're all part of the same family. And again, these guys were abundant years ago right here in our own backyards. And thankfully, they're starting to come back in numbers. But they've had some troubles over the last couple decades. And again, we're doing everything here at the Akron Zoo to make sure that this species survives and thrives really in this area. So it's just a nice setting to see these animals in. This is really a recreation of their natural habitat. They would be around rivers and streams. They'd be in a wooded area where you can find these animals. So they're definitely enjoying this nice day that we have here in the water swimming.
They're also playful creatures, aren't they?
They're extremely playful. They love showing off for people. And you know, when we started recording, he jumped right in the water and I think wanted to show off for us. And these guys are well adapted to swim underwater. As you can see, their coats have kind of a waterproof seal on them. They have the web feet. They have the tail that they use to change directions in. So these guys love playing in the water.
I've seen a documentary where they're out in the West Coast. They'll get the mussels or whatever, and they'll turn over on their backs and float and crack them.
Now those are the sea otters that you're probably seeing there out on the West Coast. These are the North American river otters. So again, we'd find these in rivers and streams, but the other otters would be in different habitats.
Are they much bigger?
The sea otters are much larger usually than the river otters. These both are full-grown river otters, so this is about as big as they'll get, but the sea otters get much, much larger.
That's really interesting. Okay, what's our next stop?
Well, I think we're about done for our tour here at the Akron Zoo.
Well, I think Ray's going to like that. He's been carrying that camera uphill and downhill.
He earned his keep today.
That he did. Well, we're going to head for the entrance then.
Yes, we will.
We're at the last stop of our trip around the Akron Zoo. He's going to tell us where we are, and then he's going to tell us a little bit about the history of this marvelous place.
This is the Chilean flamingo exhibit. We have two flamingo exhibits here at the Akron Zoo. We have a greater African flamingo exhibit, and this is the Chilean flamingo exhibit. Pretty impressive animals here. The last stop before you exit the Akron Zoo. And as far as the history goes, we've been around for over 50 years. We're on the old Perkins Wood site, so the land owned by Simon Perkins family, the founder of Akron. So a lot of history here at the Akron Zoo.
And your father and grandfather were connected with the zoo?
Yeah, my father worked here most of his life, and then my grandfather actually was the park superintendent for the city of Akron and was one of the founders of the Akron Zoo back in 1953. So a lot of history, and I've just been real fortunate to be just a small piece of the puzzle here at the Akron Zoo to see it really flourish these days.
And you've been here how long?
This is my 14th year working at the zoo, and of course, as a youngster with my dad, I tagged along and came to the Akron Zoo since I was old enough to walk, so it's been a real neat place to be around.
Well, you're a fountain of information on all the animals. You didn't skip one beat as we stopped at every exhibit. And Dave Barnhardt, thanks again for inviting us in.
Thanks for coming out.
Taking us through here, and we didn't even have to pay the admission.
No, not at all, and I hope to see everybody out, especially for Senior Safari on September 7th.
And when does that start again? What time?
10 a.m. to 5. We're open every day, open 361 days a year.
Thanks again.
Thank you.